Good evening. New at 11, the president of one of Western New York's Catholic universities is calling on Bishop Richard Malone to step down.
This is after the I-Team uncovered the names of 25 accused priests the Catholic diocese doesn't want you to see, including 2 that served at St. Bonaventure in the past. Here's 7 Eyewitness News Chief Investigator Charlie Specht.
Bishop Richard Malone has been lighting candles and talking about a year of healing to recover from the sexual abuse crisis that has engulfed the diocese for the last year.
I feel it's my obligation, with God's help and the good people around me, to be part of leading the diocese into a new day. Lent calls us to look into the mirror at ourselves, turn to God for forgiveness and mercy, and move on.
But Canisius College President John Hurley, who heads the movement to restore trust, says that's hard to do when each new month seems to bring new allegations of abuse and cover-ups in the diocese.
People are shell-shocked and weary from this, so saying enough is enough.
Secret documents obtained by the 7 Eyewitness News I-Team show his group has reason to be concerned. That's because the diocese has known about allegations against more than 24 priests for more than 8 months, but has kept those allegations from the public. Most of these priests, like Father John Doyle, are now deceased. The diocese has a policy of withholding the names of dead priests who are accused by one victim.
What a nightmare. The whole thing is just a huge nightmare.
That woman says she was only a child when Father Doyle abused her at Sacred Heart Church in Orchard Park in the 1960s. She says she came forward when Bishop Malone encouraged victims to tell their stories.
I actually believe some of what he said.
But she has since been excluded from the diocese settlement program because she didn't report the abuse years earlier. And Father Doyle's name has remained secret because of the bishop's policy.
And now I feel totally slapped in the face. I think if they weren't going to follow through with this, then I think they should have not said anything at all. Because for me, it was reliving it.
Another allegation the diocese has concealed involves Father Carlton Westfield, a priest who has a separate entry in Bishop Malone's black binder of diocesan secrets. In 2012, a secretary at Northern Chautauqua Catholic School in Dunkirk reported that Westfield, quote, was discussing inappropriate topics with the 6th and 7th grade boys in religious education class. The memo states Westfield had taken pictures of small groups of the boys and girls and admitted discussing pornography and masturbation with the boys. The memo says Westfield stopped teaching at the school, and the diocese arranged for a forensic review of Father Westfield's computer by the Diocese Computer Services Office. Nowhere does it say that anyone called the police. Westfield did not return our calls, but he's listed as a retired priest in the diocese. He's also pastor emeritus of St. Anthony Church in Fredonia.
I would say that the bishop has handled this very, very poorly.
Mark Pasquale is a former parish administrator who tried to report one of the priests in this story to the Diocese of Buffalo years ago. He says Bishop Malone could have been viewed as a hero for telling the truth about decades of abuse.
Here's a guy who, when a lot of the abuse was going on, he really wasn't involved. He really was an innocent person. But when he engaged in the cover-up, when he engaged in being a person who wasn't going to be upfront with people, he became just as dirty at that point as everybody else that had preceded him.
St. Bonaventure University President Dennis Tapiro says this is more proof that the bishop needs to go.
I believe a good leader would recognize that moment and step down.
Records show 2 Franciscan friars who worked at St. Bonaventure years ago now stand accused, though the bishop never made those allegations public.
With the disclosure of this list and the number of things that continue to come out, that the diocese has not been transparent with the public, I believe that moment has come.
Well, the diocese's response to all this was to issue a statement calling our story a media attack and to falsely claim that we violated someone's privacy. That did not happen, and as far as identifying sex crime victims without their permission, we never have and we never will. For the I-Team, Charlie Specht, 7 Eyewitness News.